Hello and welcome to another ICE video brought to you by Invincible Crew Entertainment. My name is Francisco and with me today I have a very spicy little number. So we're going to be trying out this Gretchen Titchwillow combo deck. Gretchen is a card from one of the most irrelevant sets that we've had in recent history for as far as Modern goes, which is the Dungeons and Dragons set. And it's a 2 mana 0/4. You can pay 2 blue and green in order to draw a card and put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. So the way that this works is we're comboing Gretchen alongside Amulet of Vigor, of course one of my favorite cards of all time. So what this means is that the lands that we play off of Gretchen can actually untap. So Semi-Growth Chamber works out super well. Also, very conveniently, we have access to both Training Grounds and Biomancer's Familiar. Both of these cards allow us to activate abilities for 2 less, meaning that we can activate Gretchen for just blue-green, which is conveniently what Semi-Growth Chamber taps for. So, as long as you have an Amulet, and you have a Training Grounds or a Biomancer's Familiar, or you can also have access to 2 Amulets, all of these combinations work out. If you have a Gretchen and you have a Semi-Growth Chamber, you can literally draw your entire deck. You can literally draw your entire deck. Eventually, what you're going to do is you're going to find another Amulet, which is going to allow you to start netting mana. And even if you don't have enough, you're still fine because you can play Arboreal Grazer. That's the reason why we have the 1-of copy for Arboreal Grazer. Grazer allows us to actually combo off and be able to win, even when we don't have any extra mana floating or laying around. So Grazer is here as a 1-off. We also have access to Reclaimer. Reclaimer is our grind engine. It allows us not only to find our Growth Chamber whenever that's what we need for, but we can also find Urza Saga, and we can use Reclaimer in order to grind alongside Saga. Also Reclaimer, we have a couple of copies of Flaxlands of Drokair, which combos very well with Elder Reclaimer and allows us to actually ramp. Once we have drawn our entire deck, we can either cast it as a circle, or if we have been netting a bunch of mana along the way, we can either play a Lethal Ballista, or we can use Finale of Devastation for X equals 10 or more, and then you can, kill your opponent that way. So we're not short on ways of killing an opponent after we have assembled our combo. And our combo is not that easy to disrupt, right? Like, once a Gretchen gets going, it's just your opponent will need to be able to kill Gretchen on the spot. And sure, they can push it, but answers like Prismatic Ending or Lightning Bolt are not going to work against Gretchen. And Fatal Push is probably the least play that it's been since its printing, I guess. So it's not that easy to answer Gretchen, actually. Having covered that, we take a look at the sideboard, which includes Ghost Quarter and Bojuki Bog as tutor targets, which we can find both off of Reclaimer or Expedition map. So depending on the matchups where these cards are good, we can get those. We also have access to Flusterstorm, Veil of Summer against the discard and counterspell decks, Piting Needle and Soulguard Lantern as extra tutor targets for Urza Saga. Of course, I feel like I forgot to say this, but this is conveniently a Lurrus deck. We actually get to use Lurrus as a companion, which is very nice, which allows us to grind even better. So having access to the cat is pretty solid. This is one of the approaches that we can go about it. I also tried a different version of this deck that is not so all in on the combo, and instead was playing cards like Ramen Excavator and Titania. So that also is another possibility and another way that we can build this deck. But the one that we're going to be trying out today is fairly combo focused. You will see that we have copies of Summoner's Pact, we have 4 copies of Elder Skull, and 4 Finales of Devastation. So we're really trying to go to enable this combo as often as possible. To round out the sideboard, we have Outland Liberator, which is something that we can pact for that can answer a Blood Moon. Force of Vigor, which is also an answer to Blood Moon and pretty good against Hammer and decks like that. The 4th copy is Prismatic Ending, going alongside the 3 in the main deck as our removal spell / interaction, and a couple of copies of Mystical Dispute to go against combo. We're going to be trying this through a Modern League, so hopefully you will we'll find out whether this deck is good or not, hopefully soon enough. But my first experience with the deck was much better than I expected, honestly. The deck can grind better than it seems like it can, and the combo is not as hard to assemble, mostly because of how busted Urza Saga is. Like, the fact that your lands find your combo pieces is a very big deal. And with this version of the deck having access to a virtual, 14 copies of Gretchen, means that we're not gonna struggle on that too much either. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button. You can help us grow the ICE channel here if you enjoy what you see, and I will see you for round number 1. All right, here we go. So I think we keep this hand. We can, yeah, this is a turn 3 kill. If we find any land, this is turn 3 kill, because we can go turn 1, yeah, turn 1 Temple Garden, we play Amulet. Turn 2, we play second Amulet, and we go Training Grounds. Well, we're gonna get disrupted, so doesn't matter. We're about to get disrupted, so I wonder what they do. They don't take anything. Okay. So let's go Temple Garden. And let's play Amulet of Vigor. My opponent's gonna have no idea what's about to happen. So I guess next turn I'm gonna go Amulet into... So we can go play Amulet. That's 4 mana. Just gonna go Amulet to Training Grounds, right? Just gonna go for white blue here. Hallowed Fountain. And we have lethal next turn. And both of these cards are lethal. So if my opponent taps out, they're dead. Like, they're actually just dead. Oh, please tap out for something. And it can't be Blood Moon, which seems like the only thing that beats me here. Cool against command, blowing up an Amulet maybe does something. Well, I guess there goes that. Float mana. Then we're gonna go green white, go get Gretchen. Play Gretchen. Uh-oh, I tapped wrong. How did I tap wrong? Well, never mind. I guess we're now winning this turn. Whoopsies. I mean, it still seems unlikely that I'd lose here. And we still have another Gretchen coming up next turn. So I think we're still fine. But obviously it's awkward. Obviously it's kind of awkward that, you know, I had lethal and I just didn't kill my opponent for whatever reason. Also, good job Gretchen blocking there. Yeah, my opponent's hand was just not very functional there. Okay, so green and blue, activate Gretchen. I mean, we should have just done this last turn, obviously, but so do this again. So we're just gonna kill them with Ballista, I think, because every permutation nets me 2 mana. Yeah, this is one of the things that I've been experiencing with this deck. Like, it's not as easy to like, it's very easy to make like execution mistakes, like the one that I just made, where I mean, I had the mana going, right? But I had enough mana to do the thing, but I just, you know, messed it up for whatever reason. Whoops, there we go. It's kind of interesting. It's a very interesting deck, honestly. Get the growth chamber. And this is a 10-10 ballista, so we need 2 more activations of this. So it's not that bad. Whoops, made a mistake there. So maybe we are gonna need 1 more activation after all. Yeah, the card drawing can be a little bit annoying, actually. the card drawing can be a little bit annoying. Okay, opponent is finally tired of waiting for me to kill them. I'm gonna tell them Ballista is the weak con. Just so they know. Okay, so I think I want Veils. And I want Soul Guide. Potentially Bojuka Bog. And definitely Prismatic Ending. So these are the cards I'm interested in. I think that executing the combo is going to be a lot harder here. I'm still going to leave like this because it's a tutor target. But in this kind of matchup, when I was playing the other version of the deck, I was just trying to grind. Like I was just cutting all of the only combo pieces, like training rounds and stuff like that. In this version of the deck, I'll probably cut the Summoner's Pact, for example, and then kind of take it from there. Definitely want to cut a land, which is going to be probably the Plains. We still have 1, 2, 3 Plains to go get with Flaxlands. Not a lot. I guess I probably want the Plains so I can Prismatic Ending on one. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna cut the Plains. So we cut the Plains and what else? What's the last cut? I definitely want Grazer. Maybe we don't want the Oracle. Yeah, I think we don't need the Oracle. We can just use Ballista to kill my opponent. Like if I'm gonna go off, I'm probably going to kill them with Ballista faster anyway. So let's go with Lurrus. Fortunately, can't keep this hand. This hand is a lot better. Still pretty bad, but not bad enough to mulligan. Which one? Discord spell? Okay. So I think we're gonna go for Soul Guide. Oh, they're okay. So that probably means that they have a removal spell for Reclaimer. I probably have to play it anyways. If they go like 1-drop into Bolt or like 1-drop into Interaction for Reclaimer, that's a big problem. But yeah, that's the worst. This is the worst case scenario. But if we do untap with this Elvish Reclaimer, yeah, they're just gonna ending it. Oh, okay. Wow, no respect for Reclaimer. So they're gonna take my training rounds, which sucks, but I'm gonna get to untap with Flagstones, which is pretty solid. Can't play that Grazer, unfortunately. We did assemble Splinter Twin though. Yeah, I don't think you want to attack. Probably attacking not the best line. I kind of feel like I'm about to get Kolaghan's commanded here. Okay, I'm not. Black. Scourge. Okay. So we're gonna sack here. Getting Temple Garden. And now we can get Saga. If we get Saga, yeah, that can start to get us closer to some action. Veil is pretty interesting. Veil is actually super interesting. So I think I'm going to if I shock, I grow the Scourge, which I'm not super stoked about. Or otherwise I just have to reset the Saga. I do need to develop my mana, however. I guess I'm just not gonna make a token. So we're just gonna play this Grazer, play this, bounce, and then replay this. And I guess we're gonna hold up Veil / Reclaimer activation. The good thing is if my opponent has, you know, like a Crocs. I think I'm just discarding this Veil of Summer. Just so I don't take any damage. We have Bog, which is pretty nice. And next turn Reclaimer is going to allow us to sacrifice the Ursa Saga with the third chapter trigger on the stack, which is pretty nice. It's a pretty cool interaction. So they don't even have good attacks here. I mean, I'm blocking, right? Wow, their hands have been heinous. Their hands have been so bad. So I think I'm just gonna get another Saga here. I guess I could get Flagstones and then get Saga. So we get the Flagstones, then we untap. Now that this trigger's on the stack, we get to activate. And now we get to sack this Ursa Saga. And probably get an... I guess I'm gonna get Wajuga Bog here. And this Finale is looking pretty good. Yeah, let's get an Amulet. I'm gonna hold on to this, I think. Just pass the turn. So we want to dodge a Discard spell. Okay. That's fine. That's pretty good for us. Oh, this is a neat trick. So on my upkeep, I'm going to activate Flagstones. Good thing I remembered about this trick. Like Amulet. So we get that. Amulet untaps the land. And we do get a Saga here. And then, because the Saga triggers on main phase, this triggers on ETB, and now on my main, I'm already good to go. So I skipped one entire turn of the Saga, which is awesome. Is that lethal? Because I can find Biomancer's Familiar here. So I can find Familiar. So that would be 1, 2 to find... to play Gretchen. 1, 2, 3. I'm 1 mana short. And 1 mana short of going off, I think. So with that, I think I'm playing out the Gretchen. And it 1 activation, I guess it's free. Because now I can pay 4 to play this. So we're drawing 1 card for free. And we still get to activate the Ursa Saga. This deck is sick. Sure, my opponent didn't draw removal, right? Like, at the same time, they let me untap. Like, they saw Flagstones in Reclaimer, and they didn't kill the Reclaimer. Super wild. Well, now we just go infinite, so... This is just lethal now. Play that. Make a token. Bounce. 2 mana to activate. Sure, let's do this with trigger on the stack for value. My opponent says no luck. Yeah, their draws were not very good. Their draws were not very good, and my draws were pretty great. Another Amulet of Vigor. Play this. Yeah, go infinite again with Gretchen and double Amulet. All right, going off to starting off with the right foot. Okay, what are we looking at here? So if we have a bounce land, we win. but if we don't draw a bounce land, we can't win, so ship it. Also, redundant training grounds don't really add anything. That's an important thing. Redundant training grounds do not really good for anything. The extra copies don't really help us. The only thing that they do is like after you have number 1 and number 2, like you can put 1 counter on a ballista for a single mana. Still not great. Still definitely not worth it. Can we find if flagstones, please? Oh. Oh, wow. Okay, so we are playing against Hammer Time. The Hammer Menace. There's the Colossus Hammer. We're gonna go fetch Ursa Saga here. So crack here, say yes. Get Hallowed Fountain. Get Saga. Let's start building that up. And I think we can, on my opponent's sense, that we can call for Biomancer's Familiar. And we have 2 mana. So we call from Familiar. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna get an amulet. We're gonna be able to play Familiar. Oh, but this taps for colorless. So because this taps for colorless, I'm not going to be able to make it work. Because my requirements are gonna be blue-green to play Gretchen, blue-green to play Familiar. Yeah, so I guess it doesn't quite work. So we don't still have lethal. Okay. So I think with that in mind, I'm just going to chill here. My opponent's hand seems to be fairly slow. So I think I'm just gonna make a token here. Yeah, we just try to grind a little bit. Definitely get on an amulet. Playing a land. Now we're good to go next turn. Now we are actually good to go. So I'm gonna Eladamri's Call on my opponent's end step. That's going to be 2 mana to play the Familiar, 2 mana to play the Gretchen, and then going off with Growth Chamber. Pure Steel Paladin. So we just have to hope that they don't have 2 hammers. We know about the first hammer, and I'm gonna do this on end step because they can't do anything with the card that they draw. Sure. All of this is fine. All of this doesn't really matter. You got me. Should probably move the thing around. We're just gonna win with Thassa's Oracle this time around, so kind of hoping that we don't time out. Well, we're probably not gonna time out, right? Yeah, we're definitely not timing out. Definitely not timing out. Okay, breeding pool. White and green. I am not gonna pay for you, Esper Sentinel. Biomancer's Familiar. My opponent must be like, what the hell? Excuse me, what? Play that. Play this. Float mana. So now we draw our entire deck. Oops. I guess I need to try to not be too hasty here. So, Gretchen, Growth Chamber. Boom. Activate. Redundant Training Grounds don't do anything. We have to find another Amulet of Vigor. That's what we're looking for right now. That's the Grazer. Activate this again. Looking for an amulet. That's her win condition. Still no amulet. There we go. Okay, so now that we have the amulet, we can go play amulet off of the blue mana. I'm gonna say no, thank you. Play Grazer. Now we start netting mana with every single iteration of this. Yeah, Biomancer's Familiar actually looking really good here. This was an addition that somebody in my chat came up with, and it actually works out very nicely. It's kind of hard to execute in MTG. I mean, it's not really hard, it's just a lot of clicks. But yeah, at this point my opponent can't really do anything, because I can just go off in response. So let's draw, done, draw, done, draw, done, draw. Just like to speed up the process a little bit. So now we're gonna make a couple more activations where we float mana. Hey, you only get 10 cards left to go. Okay, up to this point, like again, like this is just lethal, so I'm just going to cut the recording, and we're just going to. You're gonna see my name wins the match whenever we come back. All right, here we're back. We have enough to win the game. All right, cool. Playing against Hammer, so these are probably gonna be good cards. We want the good cards. Probably Ghost Quarters, okay. Probably Liberator is okay. What do I not want? What do I not want? Probably got the basic planes. Shadow Spears, probably, like my opponent's gonna go much bigger than what I can do. I guess I have forces, so maybe I can use that to keep them in check. I think that I'm probably gonna have to go for full combo here. It's close though. But at least that seems actually just fine. Just like a good card in the deck, in the matchup. Gracer is necessary for, you know, what we just saw happen right there. Definitely need, I'm gonna need the Tassa's Oracle. I don't think we can cut it, because my opponent can get to a point where, so the thing is that you can't prevent the card draw from Gretchen, right? So if we get to a point where like the one that we got in the last game, like we need to be, we need to draw the card in order to make the mana, meaning that if your opponent gets too high on life, then Ballista is no longer a win condition, right? So I think we're gonna go with something like this. It's interesting though. Like we could go a variety of different ways. Like we could just cut down on prismatic endings and try to go like a different route. I think this is just better though. Okay, we'll keep this. I just realized that my opponent's playing Hammer without Lurrus, which is one of the versions that has been popularized lately by a player named Crusherbot. We've been winning, been doing really well with versions of Hammer that are playing just more combo oriented, I guess. We'd love to see, not that, but it's not the worst either. Play Reclaimer, say go. Don't have a creature just yet. They do have Ink Moth and Nexus, however, on thin ice. Okay. So I guess we are dead if they do have Hammer next turn. Prismatic Ending is just incredible. Absolutely fantastic top deck right there. Play Amulet, say go. Absolutely fantastic draw. We do have Familiar. And we can call for Gretchen. Okay. So we still have Summoner's Pact, so we're just gonna call for Gretchen. Then I'm just gonna play this out and bounce. And I think I'm gonna play out the Gretchen, because if my opponent answers it, then we still have another one in hand. And if they don't do the thing, we just kill them next turn, which is cool. So they're just dead next turn. If they don't interact with at least one of my combo pieces here, they're literally just dead. Okay, so they do interact. Ping me for one. Sure. That's pretty good. That's yeah, that's pretty good. Nice on thin ices, I guess. Do you want to attack me with your Ink Moth too while you're at it? Oh, you do. Big yikes. I'm gonna take it here, because like again, like the poison doesn't matter whatsoever, so we can always kill this on end step. But okay, yeah, so let's do it now. Kill this, kill that. And even if they do have another answer for on thin ice, for the Gretchen I mean, we're still fine, because we have another Gretchen in hand. So play this guy. Gretchen. Boom, dude! Hell yeah! This deck is sick! I love this. Alright, see you next round. Okay, here we are. No companion shown. We're on the draw. Opponent moves to 6. I'm gonna keep this hand. It's not great, But actually, never mind. It is actually pretty good. So we could have gone turn 1 Amulet, turn 2 Familiar, turn 3 Gretchen. Like, the Plains is really ruining this hand. I think that we may just not be able to afford to play this card. I think it's actually quite possible that we just cannot support the card. The card basically plays. Like, we need all of our cards to be blue and green. Again, this is very early. This is in the very early stages of this deck's inception, right? So I think that there's a lot of things that we're going to be figuring out just by playing games. Croxa. So I'm just gonna discard these Plains. Don't like to take 3 when my opponent could be playing Scorch, but they're playing Cliffs, so they're probably not playing Scorch, I would say. Would love to see any land here or an amulet. Yeah, it's not particularly great. So now I'm kind of sad that Now I'm a little bit sad that I did discard the Pact to the Croxa. It really feels like a much better discard at this point. Like, the Plains was gonna be my White Souls for call. Unearth Croxa. Okay, well, I mean, we'll discard. Actually, we'll discard this call. We don't have white mana to cast it. That's just fine. The Rack. So my opponent's onto some spice over there. So I guess they're not gonna like what my deck does. Am I supposed to just reset this and just get some tokens? I think I am. Because what happens... Yeah, I think I am. Because the issue is that I don't have the colors that I need. So next turn I can play Gretchen, and if it dies, whatever, like, I don't care. I'm pretty scared of that Croxa. Liliana. That's kind of a big problem, actually. Huh. I think we go for Familiar. We could just play both things. But I really want to play the Saga here. So I think I'm going to go for Saga. And I am going to play the Familiar, because just to pressure Lily, I think. It's really mana inefficient, because next turn I could play Familiar and make a Saga token. So this turn what I could have done is I could just play Lurrus. I could just put Lurrus in hand, I mean. So they kind of need to minus to kill the Familiar, otherwise the Familiar just pressures the Liliana. And they don't have enough to Croxa, so... I'm really scared of that Croxa, though. I think that Croxa's what, if my opponent finds something that goes into the graveyard, literally anything, I'm gonna be in a lot of trouble next turn. Let's clear this card to card. Take 1. Okay. Play this. Play Gretchen. do get to make a 1/1 here. And we are going to clock Liliana here a little bit, which is nice. Attack Liliana. Oh, I guess I can just draw a card here, which is nice too. I think we'll just chill though. We can make a saga token, or we can draw a card. What is better? I guess it depends if my opponent minuses this Liliana. Like if they minus, I can just make a saga token and sack that. They plus. Okay. So since they plussed, I'm gonna do that right now. They did in brutality. Wow. It's pretty wild. Okay, so they do get Croxa back. I don't have to discard, which is nice. I'm gonna go to 13. Then I'm gonna fetch shock. Down at 10. Green, white, yes. Yeah, just get another green, white. So now we untap, take 3, draw a Gretchen. Draw a Gretchen. I think we just make a token here. We just make a thing here. And we can go get amulet. Now we're looking for a bounce land. And if we find a bounce land, we're going to win. I guess we get one more look. We get one more look at a bounce land. Blue, green, draw. Not quite. All right, pass the turn. So we're not going to take any damage from the Croxa, but we're going to take some damage from the rack. Sack a creature. Okay. So I'm going to have to chomp the familiar with familiar. Oh, never mind. Okay, so we're dead now. That's pretty unfortunate. Pretty unfortunate. So we definitely want Bujuga Ball, we definitely want Soul Guide, we definitely want Piting Needle. We definitely want Veils. Prismatic Ending looks fine. I don't think I care for Oracle. Don't care for Ballista either. I do like Reclaimer. And I think we can Shape Grazer. And the rest is fine. Maybe Shadow Spear. Summoner's Pact is kind of awkward actually. So let's cut the Pacts and let's add Ballista and Liberator, another ending. Yeah, that seems better. That seems better to me. It's pretty funny, and this is like something that I did like about this deck the time that I played it on stream, is the fact that what just happened right now happens very often. Like you are just exactly, like your opponent is doing whatever they're doing, and it just doesn't matter. You're like exactly one card away from just winning the game on the spot. Like you're like one Gretchen away from just winning, or like one bounce land like we were in this case. So because all your pieces are kind of just like setting up and it's kind of there, and Gretchen draws cards just, you know, just as a value engine, is kind of doing something powerful in that sense. Um, it's pretty interesting how it actually works out that because the combo, even though it needs a lot of pieces, you are kind of randomly getting those pieces as you go. Like, it's not that you have to make too much effort to get those pieces. So very often you will find yourself in a situation where you're just missing like one of those little pieces, and you literally just win the game on the spot. Like, it just doesn't matter at all what your opponents do, and you just win on the spot, which is very, very cool. All right, here we go. What does this hand do? I guess I'm just gonna keep it because I'm playing against the rack, but probably not the good hand. But just like against decks like this, you just want to keep 7. Like, it just kind of doesn't matter. Like, the only reasons that you would probably want to mulligan is because you literally have a no lander or something like that. But it would need for a hand would need to be really, really bad for me to want to ship it against a deck like this. Okay, we really want to dodge. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna play Ursa Saga here. And obviously we really, really, really want to dodge Alpine Moon or Blood Moon if my opponent's playing that. Like, if they're playing Blood Moon, we're just gonna get super destroyed because I didn't bring the forces on the Liberator. But I don't think it's enough to bring it against the rack, you know? We're also playing a deck that's jamming 4 prismatic endings. But yeah, if my opponent can deal with my Saga here, that's going to be a huge, huge issue. Okay, that's card advantage. That is card advantage, so that's great. That's definitely just great. Let's see what this is. They fetched and shock. Maybe another discord spell? Ogre of Skulls. Wow. Opponent's going hella deep. Okay, so I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna play Expedition Map. And because my opponent has this, I'm gonna play Semi-Growth Chamber here and bounce the island. So we can pitch the island to the Ogre of Skulls. We can also make a token, make another token next turn, which is nice. And then we're going to be able to crack this map for something else. I think I'm discarding these 2. This plays around them having a Thoughtseize or something like that. That's brutal. That's absolutely devastating, actually. So down to no hands. We're all in on the Saga plan. Lukma, no Sagas. I think we're going for Shadow Spear. Maybe Shadow Spear is not good enough there. It's like my opponent spent all of this time answering my hand, that they just did not spend any time answering my board. So if we find the white source, we just win. We just kill the ogre. Crack map. Or I can bring my opponent down to 3. I think I want to bring my opponent down to 3. I mean, I could do both. Could crack map, go against Civic Growth Chamber, but I think that going for the Shadow Spear there is better because it keeps the map in play, giving me more options. Okay, for game 3, Glenamri's Call seems kind of awkward. They really have a lot of 2-for-1s. Nah, this is fine. Submit this. Maybe I should be cutting the one more training grounds. But honestly, just like activating Gretchen with training grounds just for value seems like it could be very powerful against them. So I don't know. It's kind of close. It's kind of close. But yeah, we'll see how game 3 goes. All right, game 3. Opponent starts with 7. This hand is really bad. Gonna have to mulligan. This hand is also very bad. I'm gonna keep it. Send the Shadow Spear. Yeah. Probably gonna take one of my amulets. Maybe I should have kept the Shadow Spear just so I can play around Wrench Mind. I am actually serious that may have been the line there. Being a multi-6, we're definitely gonna have a hard climb back into this game. Okay. I guess I should probably get in Breeding Pool there instead of Temple Garden to be able to cast Gretchen. Okay, so my opponent's playing Saga as well. First time we see the Saga. So the best thing that can happen for us here is we find Bounce Land, I guess. Should probably take the amulets, by the way. And I guess the best draw would be any like Flagstones. Like Flagstone's just our best draw. Yeah, Flagstone's our best draw. Flagstones. Okay. Holding on to the amulet because I'm not really, getting anything else. So Flagstones. This is not great though. Like, we get rid of the rack, but we're just getting beaten down by the Saga. Now that we know, like, I didn't think my opponent was going to be playing Saga, honestly. And now that I know, I really wish I had access to Force of Vigor. Because these constructs are going to grind us down. And yeah, we just couldn't find a land drop, so hard way to go, but it happens, I guess. It happens. Oops. Fetch land would also be great. Okay. All right. So this means that we're at parity with these constructs now. Maybe I should have fetched there so my opponent can't respond with like a Call Against command or something. Let's see. we may just be able to get out of this, actually. We really need my opponent to have nothing. Like, if they have nothing... Skelemental? Alright. See if they attack with constructs too. They do. Okay. So block there. Forest. Sack. Get flagstones. Down to 4. Down to 2. And now we can get a bounce land off of this Reclaimer in order to start recouping cards in our hand. Hopefully we don't have to, and we can just go to 1. But that's really good. That's very, very good. Yeah, that kills us. Where's my obstinate bailout so I can call for, right? All right, yeah, I think that we were surprisingly close to get out of this, but like we missed the lander for too many turns, right? Like it was like 2 or 3 turns that this Reclaimer just didn't do anything. If we had been in a situation where we were activating, like just any land drop would have been enough. But if I had been activating Reclaimer on those 2 turns, I think we would have been able to get enough stuff so we could have actually raced my opponent back, even through the rack and all the stuff that they did. But we stumbled for too long. See you in the next round. All right, round number 4. Opponent keeps 7. We're on the draw. I think we can keep this. We can go turn 1, Fountain, Amulet. Turn 2. I guess we can all do Reclaimer here. We can all Reclaimer on 2, I mean. I would love to see a green source off the top. Ding, ding, ding. Prismatic Ending. Sleight of hand. Okay. What do we want to do here? Can we just play out a Gretchen? Oh, we're playing against the... Yeah, we're playing against the Pacts deck. This deck is hilarious. So it plays like Pact of Negation, Pact of the Titan, and then it uses Angel's Grace to not lose the game. Yeah, I just lost against this player the other day on stream, which is really funny. It's kind of a hilarious deck. That's an Ursa Saga. I think we like Ursa Saga, particularly because it makes chump blockers. Chump blockers are OP right now. Yeah, they're also playing like young pyromancers and stuff like that. It's a really funky deck. It's a really, really funky deck. What do we want to do next turn? I think we're just going to make a token just to chump. Oh, I guess I could also just take some damage. Make a token, chomp. Jeez. Somebody's speeding over there. So with second, I'm really going to be able to finale for Gretchen. So I probably want to have my life total be as high as possible. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the play. Just gonna chomp with this saga token. And hope that they don't have another Pact plus Grace, I guess. Although at this point, if they have any land, they could just pay for their Pact. They don't have any land though. So here's Champerino. So this is +1 mana thanks to Amulet. Expressive Iteration. So at this point, I have to assume that they have another Pact, right? We make a token, find breeding pool, make a token, find amulet, breeding pool. Yeah, I think so. So let's make a token here. Find amulet, pact, Gretchen, fetch, breeding pool tapped, say no. Blue, I guess green. Now blue. Let's see if they packed it. I assume that they are. They don't. So now we just get to draw a deck. Unless they have Solitude, I guess. So they could have Solitude. How do they fit all the cards that they want if they have Solitude though? How do they fit all the cards that they want? They have Grays, they have all the stuff. Do they just have everything? This is my combo. It's pretty funny how the one of Gracer is like I won through the combo like 3 or 4 times at this point, and 2 of those the Gracer has come up because I've gone off with the exact amount of mana that I could have, which is very cool actually. Like it means that it's a solid addition to the deck. At least it's worth it. Like it does feel like it's worth it. So I wonder if they're oh, you know what they must be doing? They must be saving the pact for yeah, they must be saving the pact for the Thassa's Oracle. So I have to actually make sure that I have enough to kill them with Ballista as well. Kind of brutal that we haven't found an amulet just yet. There's our crazy boy. Just waiting for either an amulet or the other thing. A training grounds. Either one of those would allow me to just start netting mana with each iteration. Still not. Half of my deck in, and I still have not found either one of those cards. Jeez. What is that? Reclaimer. So the most annoying thing about, like, it's not so bad to go through the combo. The most annoying thing is how your target keeps moving. Like, your hand just keeps moving every time. And it's very annoying because, like, you just have to, you know, keep going to the right every time that you do the thing. So okay, here we go. Now we get to play familiar, and now we start to actually net mana here. See if they have the pact. Even if they do, it's not a big deal because we have Gracer. Yeah. So now I'm assuming that they don't have a pact anymore. Okay, sweet. So they saw the line. That's kind of ballsy of them, but I mean it's probably like a good thing that they did. That was kind of cool. So we can't stop Angel's Grace. I kind of do like Fluster though, and maybe only a couple of those. Shave one training grounds. Don't think we need any of these. My opponent's playing Snapcasters, but I don't think that's particularly problematic for me. Prismatic Endings does kill the giants, and it does kill like Season Pyros and stuff. So maybe we want a couple, but not that many. Yeah, let's go with something like this. Butchugabog just for Snapcaster simply does not seem worth it. Oh man. Sand is fantastic, but ugh. Oh wow. 24 lands. Jeez. Keep this, bottom that. I guess I'm gonna bottom that one too. That's big yikes. Pretty devastating. Okay, I mean I'm gonna try to go for it. They can Pact plus Grace. It's insane. My opponent never has to not have the Pact plus Angel's Grace. It's kind of ridiculous, honestly. Jeez. I guess if you draw like that, that deck doesn't seem as awful. Can I beat this? I don't think I can beat this. Assuming my opponent has no cards, like my opponent's hand just doesn't do anything anymore. Like they're done. Boom. Rip. Can I beat this? We're taking 8 this turn. Probably 8, 10 next turn. Okay, 9. So that's, I guess, lethal. I got the Shadow Spear, so I can't gain life, so I'm dead to a Lightning Bolt. What a hilarious deck. What an absolutely hilarious deck. I'm just gonna make a 1/1 and block here, I guess. We're taking 9, 111, dead to lightning bolt. We can get an amulet. Do we still have outs at this point? Let's say my opponent has nothing. We're here, right? We top the Gretchen. We top the Gretchen. Play the amulet. No, we don't. We didn't have outs anyways. His prismatic ending is just pretty solid interaction against him. Like it kills the 4/4, kills the Season Pyro. So this is already a mulligan. I think I'm gonna keep this. Now the question is, how do we sequence this? I think I want to go turn 1 Misty. Actually, this could net mana down the line. No, I'm just gonna go turn 1 Misty, yeah. So Breeding Pool on 1, turn 2 Ursa Saga, unless I draw something else. We can kind of take it from there. Wear Tear is pretty devastating though. So that's potentially a reason to go for just turn 1 Saga, so I can minimize the impact of Wear Tear. But at that point, just like the wear part is it's a Stone Rain, right? So probably doesn't work out for me either. Okay, so they mulligan to 6. Having the Oracle in hand is actually quite brutal. Serum Visions. What a crazy deck, honestly. What a crazy deck. Let's see what they do with Visions. So they went bottom. Flagstones. I think I'm going to call on my opponent's Sun Step. And I'm shocking there as opposed to playing Flagstones because this enables me to Saga this turn. Green, white. I could also go for Reclaimer here or Walking Ballista. Let's go for Ballista actually. Really wish I had a Veil. Really wish I had a Veil. Expressive Iteration. No land drop. Well, that's big. So I can go call for Reclaimer here. This puts me in a very good spot. Like if I untap with Reclaimer, I'm gonna feel very confident about my position. And it's not even that bad against Saga. Against Wear Tear. Which is the reason why I went for this instead of making a Saga token. The problem is if I pass the turn and just make a Saga token, then my opponent has Wear Tear and I kind of just lose the game. Here we're doing some stuff. Here we play, get an Amulet, play that, probably get another breeding pool here. And we're just gonna play Gretchen. Okay. So I'm going to consider impacting on end step. Pact of the Titan. Heat? No, okay. Bolt. That's good. Is that... Gideon of the Trials. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And that's kind of a big problem, actually. I mean, we do have Ballista, so we can ping this to death, but that means that my opponent doesn't need to care about their pacts anymore. So land. So we need another blue source here. So let's get the last one. I guess that there was also the basic island, so never mind. So green and blue. Familiar. Blue, green, Gretchen. Bounce land. Womp. Okay, pass the turn. So my opponent gets to make a token here. I guess they can also potentially kill the familiar. They don't make a token. Okay, that's pretty good for us. So next turn we get to draw a card and we get to kill Gideon. It's a 4/4. Damn it. No locks. Would love to find Veil of Summer. I think if we find Veil of Summer, we're going to be in fantastic shape. Oh. Okay, so I guess we're probably just dead here, huh? I mean, I'm gonna take 8. If my opponent has another lightning bolt, that's lightning bolt number 3. I'll take it. I think it's more likely that I lose to something else, so. But if I'm going to win, I think I need this Gretchen to be in play and this Biomancer Familiar to also be in play. Snapcaster, sure, whatever. Okay, we lost. We lost. 3 mana, Time Walk. Pretty strong. I mean, I guess I could have jumped there with the Gretchen, but the problem if I do that is that I put myself in a situation where I just can't get out of that spot. Because like I potentially get rid of this, but like that's it, you know. I'm still getting beaten down by this giant token next turn. Like this was just such a massive swing. This was just such a massive swing because like I all of a sudden instead of just taking 4, I'm taking 12, and that really sped up the clock. Anyway, yeah, this deck is cool. It seems pretty bad, but I lost to it twice already, so maybe it's a little bit more real than I think it is. But yeah, see you for the last round. Okay, let's see if we can get that nice little 3 and 2. I think we keep this. We can go turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, make a token. Turn 4, we can go make a token plus play Gretchen. We also have multiple draws. We can get familiar into the mix at some point. Yeah, this is not a particularly fast hand. This is probably like a turn 4 or turn 5 kill, but it does some cool stuff. So I think I want to give it a shot. Okay, so my opponent moved to 6, then went turn 1 Steam Vents, Monkey. That's a good draw. Pretty good top deck. Pass the turn. This being a halfling druid, it's kind of awkward for the purpose of Cavernous Souls. So we probably cannot play Cavernous Souls in this deck, which is a little bit unfortunate. Opponent goes for the iteration. Not bad. Silent is, because it's kind of cool. It kind of sucks that all of them are white and black, so it really is awkward. Like all of them look like swamps, so really hard to determine what you're looking at. Okay, so playing this fetch land. So I guess I can resolve Gretchen here. We go Gretchen. Find Amulet. I think so, actually. We also work around counter magic very nicely here. Sure, they could have Unholy Heat, and that would be pretty bad for me, but I think this is better. Just getting the Gretchen down seems kind of important. Explosives on 2. Okay. If they crack right now, which they do, because they want to swing for 3. So now we can make a token. How do we navigate this? Green, white. I could also just finale for something. But I have only 1 white source, so I think I want to do... So here's an Amulet. Call for another Gretchen. Play this. Bounce, play Gretchen. Pass the turn. Pray for no... Pray for no Unholy Heat. Because if they have heat, we're probably super dead. They don't have an answer though. We may be able to do some stuff. Okay, so the answer, the Amulet. Okay, it's a way to do that. 3. Putting out of 3 cards in hand. Training grounds is not bad. This means we get to do this, gather more info. Play this out, pass the turn. Still hoping to dodge that unholy heat. That was a very timely Amulet of Vigor that my opponent stole right there. Usually this play is pretty bad, but in this specific case, under this specific circumstances, they really needed to do something. They really needed to do something to prevent me from just comboing them off. Second DRC is a problem. Okay, so we have to find an amulet. And I guess at this point we also have to find a bounce land. Maybe I should have held on to the bounce land. That is one of the things that I'm trying to figure out with this deck. It's like, when are you supposed to hold? When are you supposed to, you know, just play it out? Because it's not that straightforward. Yeah, I think we're just dead here. I think we're just dead. We need to find an amulet. It's not it. All right. Died in the air. Good old Murky. All right, hook me up with those Veil of Summers. I think I want Simic Growth Chamber. Dispute looks pretty solid. And Ending. So I don't think I want that. Actually, we probably want that. Probably don't want Ballista, because we got Ending. They definitely gonna have a way to. Blood Moon me or something. So I definitely want to have access to a Liberator. Maybe one Walking Ballista. Let's actually get a Pact instead of the Ballista. Pact allows me to combo from a lower base. Maybe Bojuga Bog. Bojuga Bog over Flagstones. Could actually see that, because it's not that likely that my Reclaimer is going to survive. And we don't need to, like, the first Flagstones has a lot of value, but the second Flagstones doesn't have that much value. The reason for that is that usually you want to sack the first Flagstones to go ramp you and find your Saga, and then you want to be using the mana on Saga as opposed to using the mana on Reclaimer. Unfortunately, Training Grounds nor Biomancer's Familiar make your Saga cheaper. They only make your creatures cheaper, like your creature activations cheaper, sorry. So doesn't quite work. Okay, what do we got here? Sure. I like that we have access to answers to like monkeys and DRCs. Explosives for 0? Blood Moon is gonna own me really, really badly though. Yeah, I think we're about to get Blood Mooned. Explosives for 1. One in a mono explosives draw. Summoner's Pact. Okay. So they're holding a counter spell. Go for finale. Opponent's gonna counter. Then we're gonna soul guide. Keep that. Blood Moon. Yep. It was fairly obvious that was gonna happen. So I can play an amulet, unpacked for the guy, but now I don't have growth chamber anymore. Seems like I have to pact for this guy right now, and we're gonna crack there. Gonna ending right now. If they have second Blood Moon, we lose, but c'est la vie. Play second amulet, see what my opponent's got to say about that. Counterspell, cool. So that cleans up things for this finale. We'd love to see, it's pretty good. We'd love to see a Veil of Summer. Next turn, we do get to finale for Gretchen. And we do get to protect her from heat. Reclaimer, okay. It's legit. And with Reclaimer resolving, I'm just gonna go for it here. Finale X equals 2 uses my mana pretty effectively. We're gonna search library here for Gretchen. We still have access to Lurrus. Heat my Reclaimer. Rude. I think I want to Soul Guide now. And that is to prevent my opponent from playing a Murktide, and also for responding to my heat, to my crack with the heat or something. It's good for me. More basics, probably not so good for me though. Dress down. Okay. Whoops, misclick there. Ending that thing. Put Lurrus in hand. Pass the turn. I guess I could have just passed the turn instead of putting Lurrus in hand. 3/3 Murky. Okay. We don't have double white, so okay. Because oddly enough, that does cast Lurrus. I guess we found a way around it. Sure, this is bad if they have, because I can't recast anything right now because I'm out of mana, but I want to play around their counter spells, so sure, if they have shock, they can shock the Lurrus now, and that's really bad news for me, but Finale is pretty good for me. Yeah, I have the shock. Take 3. That's the tiniest Murktide I've ever seen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I can Finale for the Lurrus. I think I'm just gonna do this instead. That's bad. Haven't been drawing particularly well. Petty Theft on end step. So we're gonna get to double spell next turn. Imagine if they have counter, they're gonna use it here. And those veils are just not really showing up in time here. When people ask me why I don't like Veil of Summer, it's just like, it's precisely this. Everybody always remembers the times where the card was like right on time, but when it isn't, it's really bad. Opponent deep in the tank about letting her resolve, so I think I'm just passing here because I can top deck a. I can just top deck a Veil. So this brings me down to 6, and I'm dead to double Lightning Bolt. But I don't think my opponent has double Lightning Bolt. So I think it's fine. Sure. Doesn't really speed up the clock. So 1, 2, 3, 4, draw a card, play a land, pass the turn, bounce land wins. Bounce land wins. Finale. We Finale. I guess it's no. I guess it's not better to Finale for the dude. No, it actually is better to Finale for the dude. Wait, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here we get to Finale for the guy that makes it cheaper to activate. We're really hurting for a bounce. So I guess I think that's the play. We just do that, and if we find a bounce line in 2 looks, we actually win. So we get Familiar. Blue-green, activate. No. All right, bounce land. No, brutal. And I couldn't have blocked because all 3 other threats fly, so playing Gracer wouldn't help me. I can't believe that we were so close to winning, literally 1 mana off or 1 card too deep. That's insane. That's insane. All right, so going back to the deck, I think that this deck is an interesting idea. I think it's better than it seems like, and I feel like I'm making a lot of mistakes while playing it right now. I'm still not familiar with the play patterns, and that is hurting me. I think I am limiting my outs. so I'm putting myself sometimes in spots where I can't win from. So that's something that's important to keep in mind. Also, I think that the deck building aspect of it is still, like, there's still a lot on the table for that. Like, I'm not sure that we should be playing 4 copies of Training Grounds. Maybe we should be playing more Biomancers Familiars. Maybe we should be playing more Summoners Pacts. Maybe we should be playing more like Racers. I don't know. I think that there's still a lot to explore with this deck, but the I think that it's interesting enough for me to want to work on it. At least I'm going to give it, like, 10, 15 more matches. You know what I'm saying? And if I don't find anything I like by then, I'm probably going to abandon it. But some things to be mindful of is that we do need an amulet in order to win with Gretchen. Like, we can do so off of a single amulet because of Training Grounds and Familiar, but we actually do need an amulet in play. So the fact that there's no creature that does that for us is kind of brutal. So that is probably one of the things that could spell doom for this deck. And this is in part why the other version that I was trying out, like the very first version that I tried, was playing Titania, right? So yeah, Titania needs a lot less pieces in order to win the game. You know what I'm saying? But that version of the deck was a lot less focused. So that's another thing, like, do you want to go for the more ultra focused version of the deck? Do you want to go for something a little bit more mid-rangey and more value oriented? Like, is the Titania angle maybe just the way to go? You can play some Teferis in there as well, stuff like that. But yeah, the deck is very interesting. Hopefully you enjoyed it as well. If you did, make sure you subscribe to the channel and you hit that like button, that thumbs up button. And yeah, thank you for checking out this video for Invincible Crew Entertainment. My name is Francisco, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.